Okay, here goes part 2 of this tutorial. DEBUG04-01 is what we're on here. So I was just talking about what happens if they put in, say, 4 bedrooms and how we could make allowances for that. But let's go ahead and walk through the logic. Let's just correct this to do what we know is right, and we'll come back and talk about that here in a minute. So if num bedrooms is equal to 3, they get the commission for the 3-bedroom. The COM3, again, doing our variable check, it is spelled the same way, $100. So okay, good deal. I mean, that matches our instructions for renting a 3-bedroom apartment is $100. So all right, so else if num bedrooms is less than 2, then they get commission earned 2. Now again, we're doing a direct equal comparison. These are all wrong, the ones that aren't equal. So again, num bedrooms is greater than 1. I mean, no, just it needs to be equals 1. And COM1 is correct. But let's take a look here, because commission earned, we're assigning that to commission earned, which I don't know that I did the variable check on it for you. I did not, in fact, because that's a bug. We're saying if num bedrooms is this, then the commission earned is equal to that. But commission earned is never declared up here. So that's a bug. You know, we're trying to, the computer has no idea what this thing is that you're trying to reference. It is in the syntax of a variable, in the place of where a variable would be, but there's nothing that exists, so the program's going to freak out. So let's go ahead and add that in up here. Looks like it doesn't like my spacing, so let's do it this way. Num commission earned. And I think that I spelled that right. Yes, okay. And I don't need to give it a value, because the first thing we do with it is give it a value. We assign that value there. A principle to keep in mind, again, if I haven't already mentioned it, is that a variable can, an uninitialized variable. This is declaring a variable, but it is uninitialized. And you cannot do math on an uninitialized variable. So as long as the first thing you're doing is assigning it a value before you try to do any sort of math or anything with it, then that's fine. Otherwise, you need to initialize it, even if it's just a 0 to begin with. Now these are declared and initialized because a value is being assigned to them at the declaration. So you can do assignment and initialization separately, or it just depends on the thing. But those are terms you'll want to be familiar with, because we'll talk about that as we go on. So now we fixed that with commission earned. But as we get down here to if num bedrooms equals 1, we're going to see that commission is referred to here. Now, you should ask yourself, is there any reason why this would be a different variable? Rather than just assuming that, because I mean there could be a case where there is a commission variable and a commission earned variable for use for different things. But no, this is all in the same process. We're trying to determine what value to give commission earned. And in fact, we're going to see that the next thing we do is output this salesperson ID with that person's name. So let's say it was 1234. Let's say the salesperson is Daniel Hamilton, and we're telling how much commission he earned based on this calculation. So commission earned is in fact what we want to use. So commission earned would be correct there, and we have the same problem here. But this leads itself to another issue. So up at the top again, we've discussed commission for 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom, or studio, 0-bedroom apartment, COM studio here. So, and notice it's COM studio. Down here we have COM 4. But let's walk through the logic again. If they enter 3, they're going to stop right here. This is going to be execute. Everything in the else is not going to execute. We're going to go to the end if, and we're going to output that commission, $100. If they put in 2, we're going to see if it's equal to 3. It's not, so we're going to see if it's equal to 2. Oh, it is equal to 2. We skip everything else here, go to the end if, and go down here and output that. If it's 1, we first check if it's 3, then if it's 2, and we find out it's not either one of those, so we get down here to 1, and we go, oh, it is 1. We skip this, and we go on down here. But let's say it's not 3, 2, or 1. Let's say that they entered a 0 for a studio apartment. I'm not checking the way this has it if num bedrooms equals 0, because in the scope of this program, it appears, I mean, this is the way that it was coded. I'm going to go ahead and fix this while I'm talking here. The way it was coded seems to only allow for those 4 options. So there's really no need to do another comparison here and say if numbedrooms equals 0, because what else is there? And if I do that, if I were to insert that at next if statement there, and I would of course have to add a matching end if, but do I assign an else to that, and what is the else in that case? If it's not 4, 3, or 3, 2, 1, or 0, what do I do? What do I assign it? The value, what value do I assign, and stuff like that. So that goes back to what we said earlier. What if they put it in 4? When we check to see if it's 3, we find out it's not. We check to see if it's 2, it's not. If it's 1, it's not. So what commission would he get if he rented a 4-bedroom apartment? According to the programming, he would actually get this commission. Because if it's anything other than 3, 2, or 1, it's assumed that it's 0 for studio, and he gets the studio commission. Now, I'm really going beyond the scope of this debugging. I'm kind of showing you how programmers have to think, what the kind of problems we come across in the real world is, you try to build all the possibilities into the program, but the reality is somebody somewhere is going to do something the program doesn't expect. So how do you handle that exception? And so programming exceptions is a huge you actually spend more time programming exceptions by far than you do actually programming the logic of what you want the program to do. Most of this class we're going to deal with what we want the program to do, but in other classes you will definitely encounter that frequently. So this seemed like a good place to discuss that. So just understand that this is our exception. This is if it's not 3, 2, or 1, then it's anything else, it's going to just land here. Whether that's right or wrong, yeah, we can get into that, but we're not quite to that point. So then we've calculated our commission, right? We know if it's 3, 2, 1, or 0. And assuming you have an apartment building that only has those size apartments, then you're going to be correct. I mean, it would have to be a mistake or something else that you were allowing for. But in any case, we're going to output the salesperson ID. Again, is that the same spelling and everything as it was used earlier? Yes, it is. Salesperson name. Looks like here I said salesperson name, and in the declaration we said salesperson name. So this is a bug. The program's going to go, I have no idea what salesperson name is. So that has to be right. Kind of a small thing. Programming is all about the small things. So fix that. Commission earned is the same correct spelling. So we output that information according to what size apartment was rented. And then we say enter salesperson ID or quit, which again is 9999 to quit. And we receive that input, salesperson ID. There's another example. This is a priming input for the loop. And if you look at a loop, because earlier we had this output statement here, if you look inside the loop, oftentimes you will see the correct way to do it. So sometimes where it's, there's a bug in one part of the program, it's done right in another part, and you can kind of use that to help you figure out what needs to be done. So just another little tip for you there. So we input salesperson ID, we return, and so a return statement sends us back to mainline logic, and that lands us in the front side of the end while, which loops, we always go back to the while statement. That's the only way we can exit a loop, is for the while statement to evaluate false. So if we did one calculation and we were done, we would have had to type 9999 and we would be able to quit the program at that point. We've already tested that logic. So hopefully that all makes sense. A little bit longer tutorial than I intended, but kind of covered several things there, including the exception programming. So if you have any questions, let me know, and hope you have good luck in the assignment. Thanks.